Hey guys, Tepcocyclerepair. Today we're going to be putting a starter in the Polaris Scrambler. This is a 2x4 and the starter is on the bottom. So let's get this thing up. I can't fit it in my shop, not enough room to get it in the door, so I got to do these outside. I don't work on four-wheelers too much because of this, but you got to take care of your friends, so let's get it done. Alright, so with the bike up on a wheelie like this right here, the starter is right below this, so we can take this off a couple 10 millimeters all the way around and we'll take that plate off. Alright, so from here we got a 10 millimeter here. Be careful that you don't spin the whole contact that goes all the way inside. There's another 10 underneath there if you need to grab that. We got a 10 right here, and there's another one back behind here which is going to be difficult. We might just take the whole bracket off, which is going to be a 10 here, and then that 10 all the way back there, and then pull the whole thing out. Let's see what we got to do. Alright, so underneath here you have the contact right here that comes straight from your battery. So make sure well, it's through the starter solenoid, but make sure the battery's disconnected in case. I've already taken this off so that I can show you. There's another 10 here. You don't want to spin the shaft when you take it off, just take this one off. If the whole thing's turning, get a 10 underneath here and hold this one so you can take that off. Now the starter has to slide out, so the way that the bracket is here, you can't take it off from the two bolts here. You have to take it off from the one up there and one all the way down there on the bracket. I've got that top one off that goes right there ready, so I'm fishing that other one that's all the way in the back out. It's a little tricky to get to, but use your skinny fingers and get in there. Alright, that back one there, that's the one that's going to test your patience, which is one of the things you need to be a mechanic. Alright, so with that off, you have the 3 bolts that go in through here, and you have to take the pull strut cover off, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that next. Let me get a brush and clean this up a little bit. Alright, so first off, just take this plastic cover off. It's like 4 10s, one here, one there, and then 2 more down at the bottom. Alright, so I laid the four-wheeler back down, and now I'm going to take all these 10 millimeters off and get this pull start off. Alright, I loosened the 2 10s on this brake master and just moved it out of the way so I can pull the cover off. Let's get it off all the way. Yeah, good and rusty right there. No wonder it's not working. Alright, so we got to take the 10 millimeter off right here, and there's another 10 that's right down in there so we can pull the starter out the other side. This just sits in the starter. The starter sprag here, the starter clutch, just kind of sits loose in there, so when you pull it out, it's probably going to fall out. But I got a new one, so we're just going to pull the whole thing out. Let me get those 2 10s out. Alright, so I'm underneath it now, and you can see there was sealer all around that pull start housing. There's sealer on this part too where the starter goes in, so it's going to be a little tight getting it out. Just, you know, pry on it a little bit gently. I just put something up on top of it there and just gave it a little push down, and it's free now. So I'm just going to work this out of the bottom. Again, the starter clutch, remember the starter clutch is there, so. Oh, there's that, and then the starter clutch. Alright, let me get this all cleaned up before I put the new one in. Yeah, this one wasn't working. It's all rusty and nasty in there. Alright, we'll go grab the new one. Alright, so as far as putting the starter back on again, I transferred the bracket over, and then the top part here, the gasket got destroyed coming off, and we're just sealing this for water getting in there. It's not sealing any oil or anything getting out. So I'm just going to put a tight wipe of Yamabond here, and then a tight wipe on here. This already had sealer on it, so cleaned it all up already with a Scotch-Brite and some brake cleaner. So we're going to put that on there when I put that on, and then the starter here, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the bearing right there. Okay, it's a plain bearing. I like using synthetic grease. I just put a little bit on there so that when you put it back together again, it'll have, put some there or on both of the shafts, on both ends, so it just goes together smooth. Alright, so with the starter back in and the starter clutch back in, I'm going to put the seam sealer around the side of the cover, and we'll put the cover back on. This bolt right here is also one of the starter mounting bolts. Alright, so with that surface all cleaned up, and I got the seam sealer on the gasket maker, Yamabond, on the cover, we're going to put the cover back on. And just remember that one bolt in the corner right there is one of the starter mount bolts, so that's where the longer one goes. You have that longer one right there. That's going to go in there. Let's get this back on. Alright, with the cover back on, if you have any trouble putting the cover on, sometimes you got to pull the starter a little bit just to get everything lined up and put it back in there. I'm going to go ahead and put the master cylinder back on, and the tool bolts that are underneath that we first took out on the back side. Alright, it's all tucked up back in there. Starter is done, mounted. This bike still needs a battery, so I got to order that, but that's how you put the starter in. and the starter clutch. It's kind of a pain job because you got to get the bike up on a wheelie and take everything out from the bottom, but it can be done. And this is a Scrambler 2x4 400cc 2-stroke. Anyway, guys, I hope this helps you out. Please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for further notifications. Until next time, it's Tepcocyclerepair.